morning. Good morning, good morning. It's a beautiful winter day here today, which is, what day is it? It's February 4th. Mm-hmm. If you're watching this when the day it's released, it's actually February 7th. But you don't mind these kind of winter days, do you, Betsy?
I do not. If the sun shines, bring it on.
Yes.
And then it like reflects off the fresh snow.
Yes.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
Yeah, it must have been big fat snowflakes last night.
And this morning.
I didn't see them this morning.
Yes.
What was that, at 4:30?
No, 5:30.
5:30. 5:30. Okay.
Keep the fire going, you know?
Oh, okay. Okay, so we got a lot to talk about today. There's all kinds of things, and I put a few things on the agenda that you guys don't know about.
And we'll try to talk about a little bit of knitting too.
Yes, we will. Although we seem to be diversifying.
Yes.
Yes.
It happens.
Yes. Now we're going to have to change it from the Woolcast to the crafting cast.
I think we're still in the fiber arts.
I think
it's all still fiber stuff.
I agree.
So.
Yes.
Yeah.
So for those of you that are now wondering who the hell are the
I'm gonna have like genuine surprise on my face.
Who the heck are these three? I'll beat that out.
Now I'm blushing.
The wheels are coming off already.
Yeah, exactly.
I wouldn't have reacted if you hadn't, but because you did that.
Anyway, I'm just going to do a beat. Okay, so this is the Fleece and Harmony Woolcast, and we're recording on February 4th in our yarn shop, in our woolen mill, on our sheep farm in Prince Edward Island. And we're a little bit giddy today, so... Okay, so we had a hard stop there for a second because our plumbers just arrived and we can see the house from here. So we knew where we were. And what did we say? This is going to be a little bit of a different... We're talking about lots of different things on this episode. Some PSAs, and the girls are probably looking at the agenda and saying, what does that mean when you have old animals? And the lessons that farming teaches you. It doesn't mean exactly what you think. Okay. So we're going to talk about it later, when we get through this introduction. And so we have a regular lineup, shop update. We have our projects. When we start the projects, we'll tell you what we're wearing. Simone's got a little story to tell about when knitting just takes a turn that you don't expect.
Yes.
And we're going to shout out to community schools. Mm-hmm. So if you don't have a community school in your area, we're going to tell you all about that and how important they are. And Betsy's doing a crochet project we're going to talk about. I'm working on my sweater, and we're going to hear all about all of that. Yeah. And in the harmony part, I'm not sure how harmonious and zen it's going to make people unless you're completely mesmerized and bamboozled. Mm-hmm. But Ken took this cool video. I'm not sure how he took the video while he was driving, but it was in driving snow. So, and then a big truck goes by.
Oh, Canadian to the core.
Yes. So you're going to see what that's like. And I'll try to put calm music behind it, but I'm pretty sure, I think I haven't seen the whole thing, so I'm not sure if it's exactly like driving by the fence posts that we call around here. So that's a thing here. If it's like really windy and snowy, you literally can't see the road. Mm-hmm. So you just have to watch the fence posts go by to make sure you're still on the pavement.
Or you just don't leave home.
Or and nobody cares. If you can't go somewhere, you just say, I can't come.
Yeah.
That's it. Around here, nobody gets upset. Nope. Yeah. All right. So the first thing we're going to talk about is that we got a comment from the last podcast that Betsy and I talk all the time, and Simone doesn't say much. And do you notice that? So first of all, I want to say I do the editing. I notice everything. So yes, I know. And Simone, can you tell us why you weren't talking much?
I was going to sneeze.
Yeah.
I was holding a sneeze for almost the entire podcast episode, and I didn't want to have to keep breaking.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, okay, I'm just going to sit here and try really hard not to sneeze.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So sometimes it's just that.
Yep.
You could never imagine what it could be. Anyway.
And it's like primo allergy season here.
Oh
yeah. For some reason.
Yes.
Just the dry. I think everything is just
dry
so
and indoors.
Dry. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll start with the farm update. So we have a sheep, we had old sheep and we had young sheep and everything in between. So this original flock of sheep that we had, we bought in September of 2012. So they're all at least 12 years old, and some of them were already old when we had them. So we have one left from that original flock, and her name is Fancy, and I think she's on the introduction. She's got a speckled face. Yeah, so she's not the most beautiful sheep in the world. She's a little dumpy looking, and she's just, we used to say she looks like she has a gin and tonic every night and a cigarette before she goes to bed. So she's pretty, she's a little bit crotchety, but she consistently.
Is she in middle range?
Yes, that's the latest word that we're hearing about. Yes, middle range. So she's just she's just grumpy. Okay. She's not raging about anything. She's just like, and she really just doesn't care. Okay. She's kind of like, But she had twins every single year that when we were having lambs. And those twins were the best behaved twins or lambs that she just had to make one little like that, and they'd come running. Like if they were off playing with the other lambs, and some of the ewes let their kids go all over the place and they didn't care. But the minute she couldn't see both of them, she would be like, put the hammer down, and they had to come running. So she's still with us, but I noticed that she wasn't eating much just a couple weeks ago. And she was having hay like stuck in her mouth and stuff, so her teeth are bothering her a little bit, or she doesn't have any left. I didn't really check, but it's basically she started losing weight. So I put her on the alfalfa diet, and this morning she didn't even eat her alfalfa.
Oh.
So I'm thinking that we're coming to the end of her story. She's not suffering. She's fine. She's just living her life. But I was in tears literally in the barn this morning because I came back in after I had done all the other chores just to see how much alfalfa she ate, and she hadn't eaten any, but they have an open door to the back pasture, and she was standing there by herself just looking out like this over the pasture. And I was like fully in tears because I was like, she was like saying, this is peaceful and this is a good life and everything. So now we'll check on her every day and night just to make sure she's okay or whatever. But it was really poignant, I found. Yeah.
She's contemplating life.
Yeah. And it was almost like she was talking to me.
Oh,
yeah. So
you're gonna make me cry.
I know. I came out of the barn and Ken said, "What happened?"
Yeah.
Nothing. I was just having a chat with Fancy. Anyway, so we'll be preparing ourselves for that. And, she's just old. She's not in any kind of pain. She's not suffering. And for a minute, I contemplated, do I need to call the vet? And do we have to, but it's not, I don't have to take action. She's making the decision. She's got food in front of her that she can eat, like with the mash from alfalfa and everything. So I know we're going to come out one morning and she'll just be there, but not. She's gone to fresh pastures. Anyway, so it made me start thinking about all of the things that you learn when you have animals and when you're farming, is that there's the two ends of the spectrum. There's the very first time that you see a lamb born. I can remember how miraculous it seemed, and then the other end of the spectrum is that. And I actually had the chance to help a couple 2 weeks ago that they had their very first lamb on their farm, and we were having a little bit of trouble with one of them, so they asked me for some advice and everything, and I went to their place and whatever, and now they came yesterday and it's a bottle lamb. And it was in the car with them. So I wasn't here, but Ken said that, your friends dropped by with their bottle lamb, and I said, with their bottle lamb? And
sounds like the first baby.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So it was one of a twin, and the other twin is doing fine with mom in the barn, but this little girl was struggling a little bit, but I think she's being very well looked after.
Oh, good.
Yes. So anyway, those are the two ends of that were bookended my last few days, I would say. So anyway, so I don't hope that didn't sound depressing. It's not depressing,
no,
but it's
no,
like, yeah.
no.
Anyway, it's,
No.
it
you
is.
know what? We can take like peace and comfort from that. I think they just do their life.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And they don't like wander around fretting.
No.
We could take a note from their book.
We could.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So that's a good point, Betsy, that every day they just know that the farmer is going to come with food.
Yeah.
They don't worry about anything.
Yep.
And they just are happy where they are. And so I think it is kind of a good lesson.
Yeah.
So that's the end of the farm update, but it actually is a good segue into what I wanted to say next, because we're doing this on February 4th, which is the day after the tariffs were supposed to be. So we're going to talk about tariffs just for 2 seconds.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure I never had any interest in world economics or anything like that. So you have to kind of educate yourself about what it really does a tariff mean. Is it a tax? Is it a whatever? So I think pretty well after the last few days, almost everybody understands what a tariff is, but I'm just going to say, it's not our fault. I mean, when you get so in case you're somebody that has not been following things, maybe for their own sanity or maybe because they're not interested, when there's a tariff applied to goods coming from another country, it's actually the country that applies the tariff that is getting the money. Mm-hmm. The country that is exporting the goods just is living life the way that they always did. We send off our products. If it's going to the US, we have nothing to do with the money that is collected at the other end across the border. Mm-hmm. So our prices haven't changed. Our shipping policies have not changed. Mm-hmm. If your yarn is more expensive, we're not benefiting at all from that tariff or payment that you're making. Yeah. On the other hand, if we retaliate and put tariffs on things that we're importing, then I pay.
If our government retaliates, right?
That's what I mean. Yeah. So if
our government.
Yeah, exactly. You're right, Betsy. Not us. And we don't benefit from that, but we do have to pay it.
Yeah.
So it's actually the country that is implementing the tariffs is putting a tax on their own people, basically.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And it works both ways. We're going to pay more for cocoa nits and things like that, if it comes to that. And I just wanted to make sure that that's clear. We're not doing anything here. We're just doing what we're
keeping on.
keeping on.
Yep.
And we really appreciate your support.
Yes.
If you're a Canadian that is now buying Canadian yarns, we're here for you. We beautiful yarns. Yeah. And if you're American that still chooses to shop with us, or from another country and chooses to shop with us, then we really appreciate it. So that's enough about that. Yeah. We're going to go do a shop update now.
We just love our yarn.
Yes.
Politics are a part of life, but yarn we love.
And we just try to keep knitting.
Yes.
At some point. We make ourselves educated, but in the end, we just want to keep knitting.
Yeah.
So I'm going to start off the shop update with, we got more thrum mittens. So these mittens are made with our Aran weight yarn, and they're knit by a woman that knits for us that's originally from Newfoundland, where thrum mittens originated. Mm-hmm. And she knits as fast as she can, but they sell out really quickly. But we're back in stock.
Show the inside. We haven't done that for a while.
Yeah,
what a thrum is.
Yeah, okay. She's got these on nicely. Yeah, so if you don't know what it is, she only makes one size. And there's a reason why she can do that. And so these mittens, it just looks like a lice pattern, but the little lice is not yarn. It's actually floof. So that's what the inside of the mitten looks like. So she separates all of the fiber and puts it in there like that.
I need to see that done someday.
Yeah. Well, she actually, she told me that she taught somebody how to make them. Okay. So maybe she would probably love to come and teach us. I have never made one. You've made them before.
I have not.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think from after talk, her name is, I think it's Joanne, but she goes by Jo.
Yeah.
She told me the biggest mistake is that people try to put too much
Yes.
yarn or fiber in the thrums, and then they get all mixed. Because other than that, it's pretty basic.
Yeah. Usually, whenever you make your first pair, they turn out like oven mitts.
Yeah.
Because you haven't figured out exactly how much fiber you need to put in there.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's.
And are these added as you go, or is it like duplicate stitched? No, that's added. Okay.
Get right in.
Cool. Yeah. So what happens is when you put your hand in there, you have to kind of, the first couple times you have to kind of work your hand around. And so then all of that felt's inside there. And then it just fits to your hand.
Perfectly molded.
Yeah, perfectly molded. They do feel really nice.
They do.
So my poor sister had she had a car accident. She's okay, but her car went in the ditch on an icy road on her way to work one day, and she had her thrum mittens in the thing. So it was quite serious. Her car was rode off, and she had a minor injury, but she wasn't in the hospital or anything. But she said the first thing after she got out of came out of the shock of having an accident, she said, I panicked because I didn't know where my thrum mittens were. So she actually called her husband and said, where I didn't see my thrum mittens were, and he said, don't worry, I have them. I have them. Yeah, I got them out of the car. So anyway, they're delightful.
Yeah.
And I just carry them in one color because this is kind of the traditional color. And if you want to make them like this, it's slate. Then this is Aran weight, slate, natural, so undyed. And then this can be, we put raspberry cordial, or we put rhubarb, or any other.
Cranberry.
A red in there. So, and that's the kind of the traditional colors. Have you made a lot of these?
No. I have to really, really love you to make you a pair of those.
Oh, really?
Yep. It's funny because, I knit some of the most complicated colorwork patterns, and I have zero patience for putting that thrum in.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I think it's one of these things that it looks simple enough, but a lot of stuff can go wrong.
It's the stop, start
okay.
that drives me crazy, because normally, like with colorwork, it's just, you just keep going.
You got a rhythm.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And they're not all thrum mittens are created equal.
Nope.
So some of them actually do, even if the thrums are not too big, they don't. Jo's got it's like your thick and quick mittens. They're just something about them, but she's got a good pattern. Like I've seen them, and they do look like oven mitts, even if they don't have, I don't know if the gauge is not right or whatever. And Jo started making them out of Selkirk worsted, and she said, no.
It's got to be Aran.
It's got to be Aran. Okay. So she said, she said they look okay, but she said it's not right. But okay,
she knows her stuff.
Yeah. So and she's right. They're wonderful. Okay, and then the other thing is I got 2 new books in, and I have a book that I didn't know that I was getting in, but I got it instead of something else. So
that's good.
Lina has 2. It's like a magazine, but it's actually 2 new knitting books or newish knitting books, and there's Nordic knits and there's Finnish knits. I ordered Nordic knits for a customer, and it's on its way, but they were out of stock, and I got Finnish knits by mistake. So, but I think the books, they're similar. They look similar, and we're just waiting for the Nordic knits to come in. But in the meantime, I have Finnish knits. So what do you think about these? It's color work.
Yeah.
It's what is that? I didn't
Short.
see that. Short. Oh, okay.
There's some really cute projects in there.
Yeah, there's some really cute. The sweaters are kind of like all oversized. I put some pictures in the listing on Shopify, so if you go in Shopify, you should be able to see a few of the patterns, or you can look on them in Ravelry. But it's a nice book, and it has that that Northern European vibe, so it's good. And then I will have the Nordic knits, which is the companion to this. Oh, and it's 18 patterns. Yeah, so it's pretty generous.
There's 2 pairs of socks in there for sure that I want to knit.
Yeah.
And some of the sweaters are really lovely. And like you mentioned, they all tend to be oversized in the magazine, but you don't have to knit them oversized. You can fit them
Yeah.
to your body
As long
type.
as you don't weigh 90 pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, even still, just get those maps on the go.
Yeah. Yeah. So, so that's, but you know what? Today I have an oversized sweater on, which is not, and I had one on a while ago. Somehow you can tell that the body underneath is also oversized. When
That's not the point of an oversized.
Some of these people that are on here, and you can tell that the sweater is just oversized.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was philosophizing after my peaceful and very deep conversation with Fancy. That's what my squirrel brain went to. I'm gonna wear this sweater on the podcast.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's that. And then Betsy, I'm gonna let you talk about this designer because I really don't know anything about her.
Yeah.
But this is a new book, also by Lina Publishing, and it's Veronica Lindbergh's Knits to Wear.
Yeah.
Another great book.
Yeah, so she's a podcaster also that I watch. Some of you might know her as Kika Vakovic.
Yes.
Kuta. What?
Right.
Now I'm getting it all mixed. Anyway, Kika, that's what I know her as.
Okay.
On her podcast. So she started out as a photographer, actually, doing a lot of Instagram and kind of teaching people how to do photography. Then either got back into knitting or fell in love with knitting and rapidly turned to designing. Mm-hmm. And she also really likes sort of the oversized look right now. Yeah. And she's right in with the holding mohair with the merino and stuff. So a lot of her stuff, it's soft, it's fluffy, it's feminine, even though it's oversized. Yeah. But yeah, so she released this book recently and has done a lovely job of it.
Yeah.
If you want to know more, you can go to her podcast and she actually shows some of the photo shoots that they were doing while creating the book.
Yeah. So I put a few pictures out of this book in here, but she's got some beautiful cable designs. There was one called Limoncello.
Yeah. Some of her most famous patterns, I think, that are floating around. I'm seeing them a lot in my most favorite knit from 2024 is the Sailor Swift tank top is definitely one I've seen lots
Sailor
of.
Swift?
Sailor Swift.
Yes. Oh, okay.
Also, you may have heard Arctic Light is one that's pretty well known. Yeah, that she's done. So she does all kinds, both cabling. She has a good variety. Some designers are fairly similar in what they like, but she seems to cover
there's everything like t-shirts, there's cardigans, there's 17 patterns in this book, all the way down to she does a little lacy collar as well, which is really cute. Yeah. So
I just appreciate it. I mean, if you do choose to go watch her, you might understand why I enjoy it. She's also a very expressive lady.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, she's just
a lot of personality.
Yes.
Yeah. Nice. Anyway, it's a lovely book. You know, the in the Lina style.
I want to say what country she's coming out of, but I'm second guessing myself. I think it's Finland is where that's Helsinki, right?
Yeah.
Helsinki,
Yes.
Finland? Yes.
Oh, it actually doesn't say at the beginning.
No, it says Scandinavian inspired.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I think she's in Finland.
Okay.
I'm not 100% sure on that.
All right. So, and this, I can't find the picture right off, but this yellow one is called Limoncello. Yeah. And it's a beautiful, cable and lace. It's just, has fuzzy on it too. Okay. So that's good. Yeah. So we have that book in. I have one copy because I always buy the books and then I'll check out to see if how nice they are.
And I believe it's her second book too. It's not even her first. Yeah.
Oh,
I don't know that she published the first one with Lina. I'm not 100% sure on that, which might be why you haven't run across it.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty confident it is her second book.
Okay, excellent. So we have that in stock. If I run out and I'm gonna, if somebody buys it. And then, I think I will start to stock this book. So, I will place another order for it. And if you see pre-sale on the top, it's because I've ordered it. So, and I just wanted to make a comment about embroidery on knits. We talked about that on the last podcast. I knew I was getting some, or I thought I was getting some, because the distributor had written to me and said our stock, there was a mistake in our inventory, so I don't have all the stock, but I didn't know that she wasn't actually sending me any. So it is on its way. So she's made an expedited order from Lina to get more in, and so I uncharacteristically put 2 in stock because I thought, well, at least she's going to have 2. If she just made an inventory mistake, she's going to have 2 out of the 6 that I ordered. But no, I didn't get any. So it's coming. It's on order, and she's expediting it from Lina. So it'll the minute it gets here, then we'll send that out for the 2 people that ordered it. And that's my lesson learned. Again, never put anything in inventory until you know unless I know for sure that it's just a pre-sell. Okay, so anything? I think that's about it in the shop. Not really. So.
We still have yarn.
Yeah. So now we're going to talk about our projects. And it's really funny because Betsy and I didn't consult with each other. And we're both proudly sporting our acrylic sweaters. So we'll let you go first, Simone, with yours because you're a
little bit more on brand.
Yeah.
This is our Boreal sweater by Jennifer Steingass. And it's knit in Cascade roseline. Okay. So it's a wool and a silk, and it's got the little
I can see the
nubbins of silk.
Yeah, nice.
It was a fun knit.
Yeah, good. And one of the many. Is this an earlier one, or is this one or
yes. Yes, it is. It's one of her earlier ones.
Yeah, it's
too.
It's a little bit more simple.
Yeah,
yeah. So because now the later ones are all really deep. So. Yeah. Okay, good. So I've worn this before, I think, on the podcast. So this sweater is literally 40 years old. And my mom, in fact, I have the pattern, the paper pattern I meant to get it before we sat down, but it's like fully 40 years old, I'm sure. Okay. Yeah. So, I don't know if there's any wool in it or not, but it was lovingly made in... Wow, actually, I was going to say the 70s, but...
Nope, because if it's 40 years old, I'm turning 44 on the 15th.
I know.
And I was born in 81.
So maybe it's more than 40. Maybe it's more than 40 years old. Okay. Anyway.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah, exactly. And then I put there's these beautiful ceramic buttons that were sold by the Belfast Mini Mill when they still had their shop. And Simone tells me they're from South Africa. Is that right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Because whenever I worked there, we had like a whole bin full of these pretty little buttons.
Yeah.
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 Are they a stone or like a...
No, it's
ceramic.
It's ceramic.
Oh,
yeah. A rough, like porcelain feel to them, and they're heavy, so you couldn't put them on something lightweight.
No.
And as I recall, they were a little bit expensive. So, but
sounds like racking my brain.
Yeah. So you wouldn't necessarily want to put 10 on a sweater.
It depended upon the size because I think they were like $8 per card.
Oh,
and
okay.
If it was a really big one, it would be like 1 or 2 buttons.
Okay. Yeah,
and
this was 2.
There was like 6.
Yeah, this was 2. This was 2. And $8 doesn't sound like much now, but it's back when this was done. So these buttons were added after. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so they're not 40 years old. Okay, so that's that. And then Betsy comes with this.
Yeah, so
colorful delight.
First thing I was going to say is the great thing, or not the great thing, but the thing to note is, although it's an acrylic sweater, you're still wearing it, right?
Yeah.
It's not, don't abandon it, just wear it.
No, I love it because my mommy made it.
Well, that's what this one was too.
Yeah, and it's a little bit, the sizing is...
cozy.
Yes. It's a cozy sweater. It's a comfort thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this was also mummy knit. I just happened to be the mummy that knit it. So this is my first sweater. I think I've often talked the Sintelhuyevik Sunset in Sedestal.
Yeah.
I've said that's my first sweater, but that was my first wool sweater. So this was my very first sweater. I felt like I needed to make something to kind of like figure out if this was going to be something I was really into. Mm-hmm. So this is the Flax, I think, by Tin Can Knits.
Yep.
Only I just stopped when I got bored. So short sleeves and no short row shaping, nothing of that sort. So when I made it, I found it riding up on my neck a lot. But at the time, my little 9-10-year-old, it fit her perfectly and it was like down to here. And she has wore it up until last night. She was cleaning out her bedroom and it was laid on my bed with the rest of the discards.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, okay. But she wore it up until I think probably about 6 or 7 months ago, might be the last time. And it was perfect. She just like the sleeves kind of aged with her. And she's broke it in really well.
It's
cute.
Yeah,
so,
it is cute.
So it's got a lot of wear, just not by me. It's quite cropped. Again, I think I just... like there's even a single line of this color. I think I probably just got bored.
But you said it was a self-striping bow,
It's
right?
a self-striping, I think they're called Caron Cakes or something of that sort. So it was really, I didn't have to think about the stripes at all. They just, obviously they just work out. I can maybe see the jogs a little bit where it changes, but not really.
No, but I just I think it's funny because everyone now, like in the middle of the stripe, there's like a red spot.
I don't know how that works, because I have no idea how they do self-striping.
So what you said, it was like at a tent sale or something.
It was in Listowel, Ontario. They do, it's the Burnett, is it the Burnett factory, I think? So they have like a August big blowout sale, and I had just started showing some interest in crochet, and my sister is quite an avid crocheter, and so she was like, well, come on, let's go to this sale, we'll check it out. So it was kind of my first time walking amongst you fibery people, and like, and I gotta say, at a tent sale, you gotta have your elbows out. If you see something that you like, grab it and then like shove it in your garbage bag, because that's what people were feeling.
I heard about that.
I've never heard of it.
No, okay. And then if you don't want, just put it back at the end of your shopping trip.
But to change your mind.
Okay. So I think that day I got this, which was really straightforward to work with. It's probably a worsted, almost an Aran weight. But then I also picked up this like fuzzy boucle lace weight and tried to go home and do something with that. And
as a first time,
I was so in over my head. So needless to say, there's no finished project with that one.
Anyway, cool. Nice.
So that's that. It showed up last night, and I decided to wear it tonight.
Yeah, sure. Perfect. And the flax, if anybody hasn't knit a sweater before and you think you want to, it's a perfect first sweater.
Yes. Yeah. And I think they have since changed it a little bit so that it's not they've done some work on the neck shaping to kind of help with that, like, right. If you, I mean, if you like that boat neck thing, just go for it.
They do revise. So it's by Tin Can Knits, the flax, and it's part of the Simple Knitting, I think or Simply Knitting. It's a pattern, a suite of patterns that they did to teach people to knit.
Yeah, so very good tutorials with it.
Very excellent tutorials. So you start with the scarf, which is that barley? Anyway, there's a scarf. It's all by there's flax, there's barley, there's...
No, the barley's the hats.
The hat, okay.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know, I can't remember. Anyway, they're all grains. Rye is fingerless mittens, I think, or something. So that's how Ken learned to knit. Is his very first project was the scarf, and that whole series all has this garter panel in it.
I think it might have been you.
Who
actually put me on to Tin Can Knits. Yeah, probably, because it would have been right around the time I started watching podcasts, which I started with Fruity Knitting, and then from that you were on there. So I found you, and then started watching that, and probably around the time that you were talking about Ken making some of his first stuff, and that's where it came from.
Exactly. So we used a flax to do a first sweater class as well. Okay. So we were teaching the class here, and then but there was all the resources, like you had all the videos, and anyway, so you start with the scarf, and the purpose of the scarf is you learn how to cast on, knit, and purl. Yes. That's all you have to do. Then the next one is the hat. So you learn decreases. I don't know whether there's increases, or there wouldn't be any increases, but just decreases. And then after that, it must be the fingerless mittens, because that's what Ken did after he did the hat.
And
so
there would be increases in those.
Yes, and then you I think they actually even have a gusset and everything. So you learn that,
and then you probably move into the
raglan. Is there another piece? The fingerless mittens, the scarf,
do they have
the
a
hat
by now?
The flax. There's like all different weights, and then the sweater. I thought there was 5 things, but a sock, and I think Ken made the sock as well.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember you talking about him and the sock, because you would try to fix something and it was so tight.
was really.
You couldn't get the needles in.
I know. So he still knits. He makes dishcloths.
Oh, perfect.
So so he's happy just to do that with his cotton yarn, and because
Nice.
he actually had his mom's husband had made this beautiful what's it called, the loom.
Oh yes, the inkle loom.
Inkle loom, yes, had made this beautiful inkle loom for me for Christmas one year, and it's just beautifully done. But it's just I tried it and it just wasn't my thing.
No.
But Ken,
He did really well. I have one of his straps.
do you?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. So he bought like a ton of cotton yarn and was making these. We had straps on everything.
Yeah.
About here, tie this around your pants. You know, they have a belt, dog collars, and when we were cleaning out the house to get ready to, we had to put a bunch of stuff up in the attic. I found all his supplies. There was those kind of what's the buckles that are just like two half loops.
Oh,
Cinch,
yeah,
like a cinch buckle,
that you
and then there was little clippy ones. That was for the dog collars, and then then he made a guitar strap. Okay.
So how wide would this loom be able to make something?
It was about that wide.
That
right?
wide? Okay.
You had a strap that wide?
No, mine is about this wide.
Yeah.
But I think the pegs were about that wide.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Anyway, it's that was a thing. So he had all this cotton yarn, and he liked doing something with knitting, but it's not like he really wanted to make. Like he wouldn't be making a sweater or something like that. So he regressed, if you can call it that, because he had already made like the sock and all of that. But he said, I'm just going to do the squares. I just like it. So that's fine. It's great. And I love using cotton knitted dishcloths. So anyway, so that's that. All right. So
we're just like jogging down memory lane today.
Yes, I know. Okay. So all of that was the introduction to the projects that we're working on. Okay, so Simone, you're up first.
Okay. So I
have the most projects.
Definitely does.
Goonies
Done.
all finished. So Goonies Never Say Die.
Oh, okay. So it's not just the pattern; the words are actually even written in there.
Exactly.
Okay.
So it's got pirate ship and then the pirate, like the Jolly Roger on it, and I'm assuming jewels that were hidden.
Oh.
I still didn't go through and watch the movie again, but I'll have to put that on my to-do list.
Mm-hmm.
Willow's really excited about this. This is going to be for her.
So is this one a chart you put together?
No, this is Goonies Never Say Die by Tanis Gray, and it is knit in our Wild Winds 2-ply in autumn birch and black.
Nice.
Yeah. So I'm pretty happy with it, and
I know
it feels so good.
I know it's nice.
And I meant like the color work definition.
Yeah.
I'm impressed.
Yeah.
It's a good yarn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Nice.
That those the Jolly Rogers are really distinct.
Yeah.
Cool.
So then that's not all.
No. I'm actually working on a new pattern. Oops.
A new pattern for you mean?
Yeah. Well, kind of.
Okay.
I just pulled out a bunch of stitches. It's fine.
Okay.
There we go. All fixed.
Because it's
what is it? Lace?
Sticky yarn.
No, this is also our Wild Winds 2-ply, but it hasn't been washed and blocked yet.
Ah.
So that's the difference. And
okay.
So you can feel that.
Yeah.
And then
it gets so
so plumpy. And I love it.
Yeah.
This one doesn't look very exciting yet. Oh, I didn't pick up that stitch. This one doesn't look super exciting yet.
Okay, you don't need to talk for a second till you get. Do you have it?
Yep.
Oh, okay, you got it.
Yeah.
So we had some people writing to us because they've gotten multiple skeins of Wild Winds, and some of them look plumper than others.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's just that Betsy has like the perfect twist on all of the things that she does. Sometimes I help her out on Saturdays, and I do the twisting, and it's tight. And then if I go to loosen it, then it's too loose and sloppy. So it's all made the same.
Yeah.
It's just that the twisting when you get and if it's been in the skein for a little while, it might look a bit thinner or finer than the skein you have next to it.
Yeah.
You could swack it.
Yeah.
Kind of plump it up a little bit before you cake it
but
off.
Trust us, it's all the same.
Yeah.
And in the end, you end up with this beautiful plumpy thing after you soak it.
Yeah. I love this yarn.
Yeah. Yeah.
And not just because we make it, because it's good.
Yeah. So what?
Okay, so
what
this
is this?
is going to be a Darth Vader themed cowl.
Okay.
Because Judah really loves Star Wars.
Okay.
And anyway, we've got so many jokes about Darth Vader, like with our cat, he uses the Force at the wrong side of the door, which is like him staring right into the hinges because he wants to be let outside. He doesn't go to the proper side, so we're like, use the Force, Simpkin. Anyway, he loves Darth Vader, and there's not much to see yet.
Okay.
This is kind of right up to Darth Vader's chin, and then in the back.
So this is his helmet.
No, there we go. It's hard to see.
Yeah.
So this is a shoulder.
Oh, okay.
I see.
Oh, okay. Okay,
Yeah,
I
that's
see.
kind of
So
shaded.
the Darth Vader part is this. Okay.
Yeah, so he's going to be kind of in profile like this.
Okay.
And then on the back, it says, Luke, I'm your father.
Okay.
Luke, I am your father. But I am going to be releasing this pattern. So I decided to call it, Who's Your Father? As a little joke.
Oh, not who's your daddy?
No. Because if you know Islanders,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
it's one of the things. It's
Yeah.
one of our many idiosyncrasies.
Yeah.
Where, if you've lived in the same like small communities for generations, you know everybody.
Yeah.
So when there's somebody new that comes in, they're like, and who's your father now?
Yeah.
Heaven forbid you move in with a last name like Campbell.
Yes.
And they say, oh, well, which Campbell are you? And you have to pause and go,
Not
None of
one
the
from
above.
here.
Yeah, not one of the above.
because
Yeah.
it's all exciting. And then it's like, oh,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
not really.
So if your last name is McDonald
Yep.
or Gillis,
Mm-hmm.
or in this area anyway,
White.
Yeah.
White is is okay, and there's a couple other family names, but there were a couple waves, I think, of the immigration. So they're very careful to say not that one.
Yeah.
So you need to know who the father was.
Yeah.
To know which clan you're talking to.
Yeah.
I was going to say, because I even ran into some whites that I had them in the same room. I was like, oh, so are you guys related? And they're like, well, yeah, but not like we don't get together at Christmas related. Like it's grandparents a while ago. And I was like, okay, so there's enough of them around that they even have like their own branches of the tree.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, we're working away on this fun little pattern. I'm going to do it in both fingering and in a worsted weight with our Selkirk worsted. So you can have like a thick plushy one or a more lightweight one.
Nice. Oh,
this is in cranberry and the black.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's not super exciting yet because you can't really see what I'm working on. It's just kind of red and black.
Yeah.
But it's in the works.
I'm trying to suppress laughing because I'm just thinking about the who's your father, who's your father thing, because the conversation goes, cold weather we're having here, isn't it? Yeah. And then now where are you living? Where do you live? And then it's like, then it's who's your father? I'll start.
We don't get past the where you're living because we're in the old Mooney place.
Okay,
which we have no connection to the Moonies, but that is what our house is.
Yeah, and ours is
don't
the
try
Gillises,
to change it.
The Gillises, yeah. So it's funny.
And I was thinking about places as well and how, because I mean, you guys found that funny T-shirt.
Yes, about the division of the islands, the regions, kind of like
so
down east, up west,
out west,
which is Alberta, and then Cavendish,
with a few other describers in there,
funny
town,
exactly,
town,
and we have our own because we go through the hills. Well, I go through the hills to go to work.
Is that Caledonia?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
There's Ladder Hill, which is that big hill with the kind of widening.
Yeah.
And it looks like ladder rungs. That's why it's Ladder Hill. But if you're not from this area, you're like, Ladder Hill? What is that?
Yeah.
So it's a whole lot of Islander rolled into one.
Yeah.
And then when they start giving you directions by places that have burned down.
Yeah. Or
well, it used to be, but so it's not there anymore. No, but you should still know where that is.
Yeah,
you can't miss it. You can't miss
it. I know, it's funny. It's when it was a shock because I'm originally from Nova Scotia, But it was a shock to me when I moved to Toronto. So I was living in Halifax and then I moved to Nova Scotia. So Halifax is an old city from the started in the 1700s. So none of and Europeans, this is why are we even talking about it? But so cities weren't built on a grid. Yeah. They were followed basically the tracks that were made like with the whatever way and circles and whatever. So you never describe to somebody go 4 miles north or 4 kilometers north and then turn whatever. It's go past the Tim Hortons, 3 lights down past the whatever, make a right, and then you go by the Old Towers Mall or something like that. Yeah. So when I went to Toronto, everybody was saying, well, okay, on that street, are you going north or south? I don't know. I have no idea which way.
You see the direction of the sun.
Yeah, you would have no idea. So then you had to start learning where north, south, east, and west was, and and then I moved to Vancouver, and everything's by the mountains, so you could see the mountains, but you had to figure out so that's actually south. But they
used it like a north compass.
I lived in North Van, so North Vancouver, and there's a mountain. But actually they did use north and south as well. But to me, if you were facing the mountain, it had to be north. I don't know why, but it wasn't. It was south. Okay. And I was like, I'm never gonna find my way here.
The dang mountain just keeps moving south.
Well, yeah. So how can that big mountain with snow on it be south? It can't be south. Anyway. All right, we digress again.
Big time. Okay.
Yes, all right. So what else do you have? So this pattern will be out at some point.
Yes, yeah. I'm still knitting up the samples and I have some friends testing it out for me. So just waiting for feedback on that. It's all charted and written out. Just need the final pieces to come into play.
All right. Yeah. So we'll let you all know when Darth
who's
Vader.
Your father is
who's
ready.
your father? Yeah. Who's your father is ready?
I can't help myself. I laugh every time I say it.
It's a pretty tongue-in-cheek of you.
I know.
Yeah. That was a good one. Okay. So then the next thing is the Jethro cardigan.
Yeah, I don't have a ton on that.
Oh. Okay.
I was expecting to do more this weekend.
I assumed it would be done.
I know. I'm a little disappointed.
I think I did 6 rows.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But I did spin.
Oh, okay.
So I've been working away on some local Shetland cross.
Okay.
So working my way through a fleece.
Yeah.
I'm not going to show this one too often because there's a lot there. It's 1,100 grams.
Oh, wow. Okay.
To work my way through.
It's natural?
Yeah.
Natural.
Okay. Yeah. So I'll just periodically show you when I have some progress.
Okay. And what weight are you doing? It's going to be a worsted.
2-ply. Yeah.
No. Well, it's fine, but not as chunky as your other one that you just finished, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It'll be about a worsted.
Do you have a project planning for it?
Not yet. Okay. I'm going to just spin it all up and let it tell me what it wants to be.
Yeah.
And I have some finished hair.
Ooh. Oh, nice. Well, did we see anything about this one?
I don't think you did.
Okay.
That's why the Jethro is as it is.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Because I've been doing a bunch of spinning.
Yeah.
And this is 2 bats, friend Lois and Jane, our friend Laura. And there's a little bit of sparkle in there.
Yeah, I like the brights with the earth tones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fun.
Nice.
Yeah. And I picked 2 contrasting bats because I wanted that kind of pop of color.
Yeah.
So it's
do you know what it's
soft
going to
and
be?
Squishy. Colorwork something.
Yeah. Okay.
And I was thinking, something dark paired with it so you can really see the kind of little pops of color.
Nice.
Yeah.
Did you see that post? I think it was Dawn Thorpe that posted her traveler shawl, but she made it monochromatic.
Okay.
And it still looks. It looks great.
I didn't see that one.
No. Okay. It's like a. I'm not exactly sure. It might have been Wild Winds Natural Black or some other Selkirk worsted. Maybe I can't remember.
Yes.
Did you see it?
Yes. The name didn't ring a bell at first, and then
So
she shared it with me. It's beautiful.
Yeah. So it was really like, well, of course you can make it just out of one color if you want.
Yes.
Like it's.
Sorry, I just had a complete duh.
Yeah, but I know and I was like, what? The traveler with one color, and then you look at it, and it's just gorgeous.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
It's just all texture.
Yeah. You can really see the texture because when you're doing the color work, you can see it's the play of the color.
Yeah.
But if you just do it in one color, it just lets the yarn shine. So it's it was really, you have the texture like because
that was her frivolous Christmas Eve cast on.
Yes, that's right.
She finished it.
Yeah. Exactly. All right. So you got anything else over there?
No, not really. I've got my traveler, but there's not a ton to see. Made a couple more, swipes with color.
Yeah. So you've been spending your time doing something else that we're going to talk about later. So in case you're wondering, Simone, what happened? Are you on vacation or something? Okay. So Betsy.
Well, I was on vacation.
Yes. You had a friend visit.
I had a friend come and visit so I could show the island. She chose January, brave her, but we had a great time. We just talked and downed coffee and talked.
Yeah.
And I did try to knit, but eventually I ran out of knitting that I didn't need to pay attention to.
Okay.
So rather than trying to do something with decreases and increases that need to be counted, I was like, okay, just
enjoy.
Just enjoy my zest.
Yeah. Okay.
So I did manage to finish the back of Matthew's jacket. So I mean, it's just the back of the jacket. Yeah. I was curious though. I have a question for you ladies. So I work hard to make sure I do alternate skeins when I use hand dyed yarn, because we always tell you all to do that, and then I don't run into color blocking issues. But I got thinking, how soon? Between two skeins, do you alternate the two skeins right from the very beginning? I've been doing about actually, I look at the ball when the ball is about this big.
Yeah.
Then I add the next one in.
Yeah.
So I was just curious, how do you handle alternating skeins?
Depends upon the project.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I find that if it's a yoke sweater or something that's fairly busy, I'll do it all with the first part of the skein and then start alternating in.
Once you get to the solid.
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly. If it's pieces, I usually just start right away.
Okay.
Yep.
It depends for me too.
Because that was my other thing. I'm about to start 2 pieces for the front. I thought, maybe I'll do them 2 at a time. Yeah. But if I'm alternating skeins right from the beginning, I'm going to have 4 balls.
Yeah. So when I think, Simone, do you want to grab my, the Maya? Because I'm going to show you on that, because that's what I did. I implemented a few tricks. So we'll just wait for Simone to get back. Sent her on for that on that errand. Okay, so this when I was doing the color work, I didn't alternate at all.
Okay,
because it's busy enough you can't really. Yeah. So and it's busy enough that you can't really see it. Then I it's no big deal to be alternating, but I prefer not to alternate.
Okay.
So I started alternating down here. And I think because this
would you have started right after the color work?
Yes.
Okay.
But with whatever I had left of that ball.
Okay.
And I can't really tell now, but I thought when I first finished it, I could tell where the ball, I didn't alternate soon enough.
Okay.
Is what I thought, but I can't
see it.
I can't really see it, but I think it was more like this part. So what I do is I alternate. So I would have used the end of whatever ball I had here and started alternating on the stockinette. Then I would bring in the next ball when I have about, like what you said, like about that much left. And then like that. But by that time I was down to here again. And so once you have a break, any kind of color work, any kind of a break, then you have a chance just to use one skein.
Okay.
But I really can't see it now. But I thought when I finished it, I was like, I should have alternated sooner. But I think I do it differently on every sweater, because I actually look at how tonal the skein is.
Right.
If it's really tonal, I'll alternate faster.
That makes sense.
I bring in the new ball, and I would work with 2 balls.
And how many rows? Every other row?
Yes, every second row.
If it's in the round, the helical is every
the helical.
Every row.
Okay.
Yeah.
For this one back and forth. So I was doing 2 rows so that I could take the yarn across and come back.
Yeah.
And then take the yarn across and come back.
On the flat. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I do too.
All right. I mean, ultimately, I'm always looking for ways to simplify things, but if that is the best way to go, I should just do it because I do not want color block.
Yeah. So I don't mind cheating but I look at the yarn. Yeah. I really look at the yarn. So, and our UPS guy is here.
Yeah.
So we're going to remember where we were. Okay. So your orders are on their way.
There they go.
There they go. All right.
So we were talking about the alternating of skeins, and I was just trying to decide how to potentially simplify that, but still do 2 separate panels.
Yeah.
Not have 50 billion balls of yarn rolling all over the floor collecting Scout's hair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think I'll have to think on that. But the conclusion might just be do 1 panel. Oh, I know what I'll do. I'll do like what you're doing on your You Can Do It, where you knit up to the color work on both pieces.
Yeah.
So when I get to the color work, I can ensure that I'm at the same spot and then I can work those. Yeah. And yes, it'll be 4 balls for a while, but it'll just be for a while.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that.
even out.
All right.
Yeah. And speaking of color work.
Happy I could help.
Speaking of
sometimes
color,
you just have to talk it out.
Yeah, it's true. I remember to bring the swatch.
Oh,
because I swatch. I feel like celebrate me.
Yeah,
I swatch.
Yeah.
So this is what he wants, but like three times that. So it'll actually be a larger chunk.
So
that makes
is
sense?
it like the
kind of? It might even be more than that because this is a finer knit. I'm going tighter.
All right. So this is your Cruising Argyle
pattern.
Argyle.
Yeah.
Betsy's first pattern, published pattern.
Only pattern.
Yeah.
Have not returned to pattern design.
Yeah. So because it's hard. So we're going to say something. I'm going to say something.
Oh.
I won't rope Simone. Is that I know that Matthew was choosing the color.
Oh. I'm not insulted.
No.
Colors are a very personal thing.
Yes. We like this one, Matthew.
Yeah, it's a slighter more less so.
But you do you. You do you.
This is he wants a contrast stripe coming through, just like we did here with the dark.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't say he's 100% settled yet, but he wants an orange of some sort. We just might tone it down from.
I think I wonder if we're not actually seeing the full effect, because if it also goes like this underneath, then it might be.
Yeah. And some more of the Argyle. So we really it's duplicate stitch, which the fantastic part is, even if it's finished and I put it in and we don't like it, it can be removed.
Yeah.
I'm not knitting it in as a third strand.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
That'll be,
So this is a really good point too, because there's going to be quite a lot of lines in the sweater, but duplicate stitch is the way to go.
The way to go.
Yeah. You just do yourself a favor and do that. Yeah.
So
I'm also thinking, it might, because duplicate stitch ends up a little bit more robust because it's a yarn sitting on top of a yarn, I might do a lighter weight yarn to do the duplicate stitch with.
Yeah.
I think it'll still cover the other without being quite as plumpy. That's the word of the day. So anyway, because it's duplicate stitch, it's at the end. I can decide all of this once we even know the jacket fits.
Right.
it'll fit.
I'm sure it'll fit.
What were you going to say, Simone?
I have no idea now.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
No, it wasn't important.
Okay. So I actually personally like the fact that the lines are a little bit more prominent.
I think it depends on what look you're going for.
Yeah,
right?
And it's not my jacket.
Yeah,
it's Matthew's jacket. It's lovely. I love that icy blue.
They're so perfect, your duplicate stitches.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
thank
Mine
you.
never looked that neat.
They really? So,
pretty neat.
Yeah.
They're just. They're
Did you knit this one?
Yeah, she did.
Oh, okay.
She did it out of Rowan felted tweed.
Yeah.
The original was out of our stock yarn, and then
so you were like the test knitter.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What a team. All right. Excellent. So anyway, we don't want to influence you, Matthew, but we'll see. But I actually think now that I see how the lines go, that it'll change the whole thing.
It will.
When the other top line is on or the whatever. Yeah. So
Don't worry, he will do what he wants.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So what is this line? What is this thread for here? Did you change needle size?
Yes, okay. That was to indicate that we actually went down a size. He wanted it tighter. He was looking for quite a fine, tight knit on this one.
Yeah.
It's going to be a little bit more fitted to the body. We've made this jacket before for him.
Yeah.
This one he wants a bit more like a dress jacket sweater kind of thing. So it'll be more fitted to the body. Yeah.
Not a dress.
Yeah. I don't know what I said. Dressy. No, we're not.
He does wear that first one a lot.
Yeah. So much.
Yeah.
It's time for something else to look at.
But it's so good. You know what I mean? Like your knitting is so appreciated
by family is very knitworthy, and Matthew is my biggest champion. He wears, and he does the most rustic yarn, doesn't bother him. Yeah. He had me mending things the other week, and so he just loves his knits and comes home immediately and puts his sort of more older rustic ones on, and he wears his other ones to work every day.
Oh,
so,
good.
Yeah.
Good for you, Matthew.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
So that's all I really worked on this week.
Okay. Not all.
Well, in knitting.
In knitting. Okay. So I'm going to kind of break some things up because I'm just going to show for 5 seconds my You Can Do It. And I have to admit, I was fully hoping to have either if it's the front panel or the back panel done before I sat here because I had time on the weekend, but I was preoccupied with other things like world economic, whatever. So I fell down the rabbit hole.
Here's your pass, Kim.
Yeah. So I did do a little bit of knitting, but I have to fully admit I feel like I'm...
You know what? There are some things that not even knitting can calm the nerves. Sometimes it just requires some serious contemplation about where your mind and your heart and your life is at.
Yeah, right. And I didn't want to have to rip it out again.
Yeah.
So this is the first piece that I finished up to this point. Mm-hmm. And then I have to start to make a decision about I'll have to decide which one is front and which one is back because I have to start the neck thing. And now this is the second.
Okay. I don't know if we've seen.
I don't think
we haven't seen the color work on the second piece.
Oh,
good
really?
job.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Wow, look what you've done.
Look how much I did. I worked really hard. Anyway, it's just going along on the pattern or whatever. So it goes fast from there. Yeah.
Beautiful motif.
Yeah. So it's a fun project. I don't know why I don't knit on it more. And it is working out. It's but I do have to pay attention. I have to say the purling color work on this pattern is a little bit challenging. I've had to...
We have no idea what it's like to purl color work, do we?
No.
We might have did a little bit last year.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Exactly. I'm not going to get any sympathy whatsoever.
Nope.
No.
You got your pass on not knitting.
That, it does require concentration.
Yes.
And it makes you reverse your thinking because you're going one way and then you're going the other.
Yeah. And it's especially when you have to look at when you start doing the motif, you have to look at it really closely to figure. So I'm doing a lot of looking over at the knit side just to make sure I'm still on track.
I gave up doing that and I just focused on my chart. I know for a lot of color work, you say read your knitting, read your pattern you're doing. I found when it came to the purling in color work, I was stroke line off. Now follow square, square, square. That seemed to work best for me.
Yeah.
And stitch markers.
Yes, I know. I still haven't done this
in sections of 10.
I don't know why I'm
stubborn about that.
Yes, I don't know why because I have them sitting right there.
It took us a while too.
To
start using them, and then once we did, it was like, oh my goodness, this is so much faster.
Yeah. All right. So I did actually get put the pattern up on the Coconuts board, the maker's board, and I have so step one. Okay. I have the ruler now. But now I'm seeing that the ruler is you have to be careful where you put it because if you can't see the stitch underneath, then you know what line you're on, but you still like to read your knitting at some point.
That because I use a computer program that I have a drawing that I can literally, so I draw a line through it. So it's not completely invisible to me, but it denotes that That's
Yeah,
not that line. Yeah.
And then I also have to say that Em is just fascinated by that maker's board thing. And
Of course she is.
Yes.
Batting the ruler off.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or no, if she batted the ruler off, that would be okay, because then I would just put it back on. But she moves it down.
But you didn't notice. What a cat.
I know. She's
I love
something
her.
else.
She knows.
She's something
She
else.
knows.
Something else. Something else.
She's
Okay.
got personality.
Yeah, personality plus. Okay, so that's the You Can Do It. That's just we're just continuing on. So the good news is that, like we said in the last episode, once you get through these parts, it's like the whole sweater is almost done. I still have the sleeves to do, but then the decreases are going to go fast. So, all right. So then we just want to do a little catch up on your cross stitch.
It's kind of connected to the next project I'm going to show.
Okay.
So
All
why
right.
don't I go into that? So I am still waiting for my supplies to arrive, which is fine. It's all good.
Yeah.
But last February, I had used some birthday funds from my mom. I got the itch to do some English paper piecing because Simone was working on hers. And so I went out and I got the fabric. I cut all the pieces. I did some, and then I don't know, life happened and I stalled.
Yeah.
My birthday is coming up, which I have now mentioned for the second time. Apparently it's a big deal. But it kind of like prompted me to like, okay, come on, do something with this. So I've been watching all these cross stitching shows that have these beautiful handcrafted like project bags,
Right.
which are different than knitting project bags because they're more of a flat folder style.
Yeah.
Because your stuff is
Like an
flatter.
envelope.
Yeah. Not so we don't need them round or square or bulky to shove a bunch of yarn in. So I was like, perfect. I'm going to turn my English EPP, so hard to say, into a bag or a folder. So this will get like evened off a little bit, trimmed down. So this will be the front side, and then I'm working on a back side, and it'll be like a 12-inch by 14-inch folder idea that I'm going to do. So anyway, that's what I've been paper piecing with, and I just love this fabric. It's just so cute. Like little bunnies and little fawns. I love woodland whimsical.
Yeah,
it's just something about
it's a thing, isn't it?
I think I maybe wish I was a fairy. just love it.
Yeah.
Love that idea. Flowers and dandelions and wish makers. Anyway, so this is what this will become. So some of my pieces still have the paper in them.
Yeah,
because I started pulling some of the papers out before I had ironed it or pulling the threads out, and all of a sudden the whole thing was just like, I was like, So make sure you press your fabric before you remove your stitching and your paper pieces.
Yeah, nice.
So that's what it is there. So hopefully, I shouldn't say this on camera, but I'm going to. Hopefully next time we see you, it'll be a finished piece. Because I have all the fabric.
So did you, did you just start this? Like, since
no,
the last
I
part?
had done.
You had part of it.
I had done everything but 2 of the rows, I think, on here, on this one.
Okay.
But the back was not, everything was cut, but nothing was sewn yet.
Okay.
I'm a fairly experienced hand sewer.
Yeah.
So it does not take me long.
Yeah. Okay.
I would say I can move pretty quick with that kind of stuff.
Nice.
Mostly, you know, you can get chiagu holes.
Yeah.
You can also get needle holes when your hands are so dry.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what I was complaining to Simone. Our hands are so dry. My rough skin was unthreading my needle. And I need to go. I have an eye doctor's appointment next week, and threading the needle right now is something else. So I hope I come away with glasses because I need help.
Okay. Well,
I'm past denial.
And what if they say you need progressive lenses?
Then that's what I need.
Okay.
Because I gotta thread the needle. Because I love the work too much to pout.
Nice.
So yeah,
perfect. So and the sewing bug got you too.
Oh yes.
Yes.
So I've been doing a little bit of sewing. I signed up for community school.
Yeah. So before you start, have you sewed? You had a sewing machine, I know, because she lent it to the Fibre Festival.
Yeah.
So we know you've sewn. Yeah. But how much sewing have you done?
I haven't done a ton.
Okay.
I've sewn a couple of dresses and things like that, and some hula hoop covers, just curtains.
Some what?
Hula hoop covers.
I knew you were going to say that. So what?
So do we have to talk about your hula hoop career?
No.
Have we talked about it before?
I don't think so.
Simone is a hula hooper like you've never seen before, including with fire.
Yeah.
But I'm assuming that the hula hoop cover.
That's not for my fire hoop.
Yeah. So you never know with this girl. Like you say something and then something comes out of her mouth and you go, "Oh my God, I can't believe it." Okay. So it is true though.
Yeah.
Yes. So why do you need a hula hoop cover?
Because sometimes you get bruises.
Oh, it's padded. It's padded.
Yeah.
Oh.
So like I was using what is that stuff? The polar fleece.
Okay.
Yeah. And I was doing like little block covers, so like color sequences, and that gives enough cushion that you don't get as many bruises.
Wow, my goodness. Hula hooping is a dangerous.
Okay, so we've covered hula hoops and made some garments. I think we've done some sewing.
Yeah.
But the garments were very they were dresses. They were really, really simple.
Like sundresses type thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like, there wasn't a lot of fitting involved. Mm-hmm. So I signed up for the community school because I want to kind of progress my skills. And there's a lot that I don't know. Mm-hmm. And I don't really know where to find good
tips
resources.
and tricks. Too, probably, yes.
And that's it too. Like there's everybody's way of doing things, but then there's also little tips that make things easier. Mm-hmm. So we did zippers last night. And one of the tricks was, make sure that your zipper is pulled partway down before you start sewing. So when you sew, you come to it, you make sure that your needle is in, you lift your foot, you pull your zipper back up because you can't go over these big zippers.
Right.
Put your foot back down and then continue sewing. And it's like, I would have fought with that and had this like little, because I couldn't go right over the zipper. Yeah. So, that's the kind of stuff that I need.
Yeah.
So sorry, I'm curious. So did she have you using a zipper foot at all?
No, not yet.
Okay.
Not yet.
We'll leave that for another day.
One of our first projects though was quilted notebook covers.
Okay.
So this was the first one that I made.
Mm-hmm. So cute.
And then the second one, I still got little threads here.
Yeah.
And they've got ties.
Adorable.
Yeah. Nice.
Little pockets.
Talk about making you more inspired to, I don't know.
To open it up and write things down. Yeah.
And it's funny because this is fabric from Joanne.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, Joanne, I'm using your fabric.
Yeah.
Is that
nice.
Betsy?
It is.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
And this is the same thing, just a book inside a notebook with the lovely ribbon. Nice.
So that was a fun project. It was so much fun that I made a second.
Yeah.
And then last night we did these cute little zippered pouches. I can put like a little pen or, whatever I want.
Yeah.
This is crazy. You've been to how many classes?
That was my third.
Yeah. Nice. And what's this for? Is
it's
this
so
go
that
on
it
your
can
arm?
slide over
your
notebook cover.
Oh.
So,
okay.
Yeah. She's been on a theme. Next week we work on tote bags.
Okay.
So
nice.
I look forward to that as well.
Very cute.
And,
just tell us a bit more about the community school class.
Yeah.
What is kind of provided, what you bring yourself, how they put these things together.
The community school is a really great organization on PEI. Might be something that people do elsewhere, but we're really lucky. We have a bunch of different rural community schools. Yeah. And ours in particular is really large. Yeah. We offer classes usually Monday to Friday, sometimes Saturdays, and multiple classes through the day. So they'll have a morning, an afternoon, and evening class depending.
They sometimes use the libraries too, right?
Yep. Or sometimes the village office.
Yeah. I learned how to play bagpipes through community school when I was in grade 4.
So
that's right.
it's a great time. You can get out for the 10 weeks.
Yeah.
It's $15 here on the island to register, plus whatever materials you need. So it basically amounts to $1.50 a class to register, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And you get great teachers like Melissa Bailey. She was the instructor for the English paper piecing at the Fibre Festival.
Yeah.
She's the instructor for the sewing class.
Yeah.
So we pay for materials. She sources them cheaply and, keeps it down. We bring our own sewing machines, but she does have a couple extra for people that don't have theirs yet. And then obviously like things like irons and ironing boards, things like the tools that you need. But there's tons and tons of classes.
Yeah.
There's knitting, there's crochet, there's pickleball.
I hope to get in on a rug hooking one someday. That's my plan.
Yeah.
Actually, that's where I learned to rug braid too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they're all over the island in
Yeah.
little communities, and I was just talking to somebody about community school 2 days ago because they said, do you do knitting classes? And I said, well, we used to before COVID, but then we stopped doing it.
Yeah.
And I said, and now the community, almost all the community schools have beginner knitting and everything, and they do a way better job than we did. So we get a lot of people coming in saying that they're doing knitting, learn knitting or crochet. Or
it's great.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's just a really nice way to pass the winter. Like, a lot of people tend to get a little lonely in the winter. They don't get out a whole lot. So this is kind of an incentive for people to get out at least once a week and meet up with other people and do something that they find challenging or fun.
And there's enough of them that it's usually people from your community.
Yeah.
It's not like you don't travel far to go to them.
Operate them locally.
Yeah.
Because Simone's is like, your community is about 25 minutes away officially from mine.
Yeah.
But there's another one that's like 10 minutes. I think Vernon offers one. So
and then Montague
has one
which
as
is
well.
like 15 minutes away.
Yeah.
So all these different little places close by.
And what else do they be? I mean, crafting seems to be like a no-brainer, but they do offer other things
all
too,
sorts
right?
of things.
Yeah.
So within our community, there's beginner guitar, there's ukulele, hootenanny, which is always fun to listen to because it's a bunch of the people that play instruments and they just get together and they play and they have a really good time. So it's kind of like a jam session.
Okay.
What else? Yeah, it's
cooking.
There used to be, but Paul has retired. He spent so many years running the community school, and he retired from it. So he always did the cooking and the baking.
So I was going to say, you guys have a beautiful like community kitchen in your community hall as well.
I really enjoyed that, even though I didn't take
that
it.
Paul White?
Yeah. Kirby took the cooking, and I used to laugh because every week it'd be like, you'd have to get this supply list, and there'd be like $10 worth of cheese. So you're like, oh, it's going to be something really good.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so we just wanted to give a little cheer and I don't know how. I'm thinking that because we had it in Nova Scotia as well. So like I said, they did different music lessons and things like that. And did they do them in Ontario or?
See, I don't know. However, I never looked. So I was just thinking that I'm going to encourage all of you, if you think that it isn't there, maybe do some research. Go talk. Often libraries have these kind of resources for sure, the information at very least. So go talk to your local library. Find out if it's happening in your community. And if not, maybe it's something you want to get going. I just think it's so beneficial for those who take it as well as for those who are teaching the skills, right? Sometimes it's so just, I don't know, inspiring to share what you know with someone. We don't necessarily have that same generational passing on trades and skills. So this is a way to do that. So anyway, I think it sounds amazing.
So I think that when we say community school, it's actually community because it's in your community, but it also builds the community.
And it's done entirely on a volunteer basis too. So you're going to frequently see the same faces over and over again, and you really get to know them. It's nice.
Yeah,
I just keep seeing more and more about struggling with isolation and loneliness. So I just want to hear these things.
It's
I think
a perfect
what a fantastic opportunity.
Yeah. And within our community anyway, like there's people walk to it. So because it's just that one main street really. So it's really close. You walk up, you have your fun, and then you walk home.
Nice.
And you go home with a skill and a hobby, and you can just try all these different ones, and some will stick and some won't.
At low cost.
Okay,
excellent. Okay. So that's our little shout out to community school.
All right. Are we like 6 hours in by now?
Yeah, I know. Seems like it's been long. Okay. We're very chatty today. That's good. Yeah. So the Mercerie is next on the list. So I think today is the first day of officially to the Homage of the Granny Square, which I'm doing. But I already have the thing because, like I said, they needed to give me a head start. And where am I? Ready to start? Lesson 1. So which is all
with everybody
else, which is going to be about color choices and stuff like that. So I think I actually will try to choose my colors today, actually, and
Good job.
you can help me with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Love that. Love it.
Okay, because you know what it's all about. And so you have started now you're how many lessons in the tessellation?
Well, it started beginning of January. So
Okay.
and it comes out twice a week. I'm being a naughty girl.
Oh.
So I have not started crocheting because we haven't actually completed sort of our final design map.
Okay.
However, you are supposed to be having figured out your tension and making sure you can crochet each of the different shapes. There's like 6 different shapes you need to be able to create to proper scale and stuff. I'm just not doing it.
Yeah. Oh.
I'm just being a brat.
Yeah. Bad, Betsy.
I know. Because I'm like,
Aren't you going to blame it
it'll
on your
work
company?
out.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah. But
So,
I have
yeah.
a new news flash. Is that our friend that is also doing it, Joanne, who does not necessarily has come here with some of her shapes done.
You're just poking the competition fire.
Yes, she is.
Joanne shall not finish before me.
The gauntlet
that,
has been,
Joanne?
the gauntlet has been dropped. Anyway, and no one was more shocked than me that it was. I said, "Oh, and did you start doing it?" She said, "No, this is my
This is watching.
Yeah. So anyway, so I'll just leave that. I'll just leave that in the air.
Yeah, I'm literally just hoping that it'll all be fine.
Yeah.
Because I'm being too stubborn. I'm like, I don't want to use practice yarn. I just want to start with my colors.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
it's coming very soon.
So technically on the program, you're still not actually making the blanket yet.
No, she did say that if you start with some of the colors that you're interested in and practice with them,
and
they may fit in. So that could be a possibility. But I'm also learning through this. I'm a little more, I didn't realize I want more of the full roadmap before I get started. I thought I was someone who could I'll make it up as I go, but I'm not. I want to know. I want to know the whole thing. I want to know exactly where each color is going to end up landing, so that not that it has to stay that way, but if I want to change, I know what's going to affect.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
So
all right. So that's good. So we forgot to talk about Simone's snowflower.
Oh yes.
Yeah. So we asked Simone's permission to bring it up.
Yeah.
Because it's no more.
No.
So
And it's not that I don't love it.
yeah,
It's just
I think it's a good human story.
it is.
Yeah.
Kind of had bad feelings associated with it. It's nothing to do with the design.
Yeah.
It happens sometimes whenever you craft. So my husband was injured and we ended up having to go to Halifax for emergency surgery.
Yeah.
And I had taken that project with me.
Yeah.
And I was trying to work on it while I'm sitting in the hospital, and he was in a lot of pain.
Yeah.
So the lights,
He's
wanted
okay
the
now.
lights.
We should
Yeah.
say
Yeah.
he's
Yes,
okay.
yes, he's
now.
okay now. Like
Yeah.
this was before the Fibre Festival.
Yeah.
The week before the Fibre Festival.
Yeah.
So I was trying to work on it while I'm sitting there, and the lights were dim, and I just couldn't see it, and I couldn't get a rhythm.
Yeah.
And I was like, "That's fine. I'll put it away."
Yeah.
And I sat there and I knit socks, because socks I can do basically in the dark. Well,
Yeah.
I did them in the dark.
Yeah.
It was just like you need to have something to kind of soothe you, and that
Yeah.
just required too much concentration.
Yeah.
And I did get a little bit behind.
Yeah.
And whenever I came home, we had the Fibre Festival, so that was busy.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had catch up after the Fibre Festival. So
Yeah.
I was like, okay, maybe over the Christmas holidays, I'll take it out. And I did.
Yeah.
I dabbled a little bit with it, and I kept putting it away because I'd do a couple stitches and I'm like, it doesn't feel right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I finally realized, talking to Betsy not long ago, that that's what it was. It was the association with the whole hospital experience that was kind of stuck in my brain, and it just didn't feel good to continue with that project.
Yeah.
So I pulled it all out.
I think, and I mean, Simone we were chatting about it when we always have like a little meeting. Sometimes it's 5 minutes. Sometimes it's a little bit more organized than that. But Simone was chatting about that because I said, whatever happened to the snow? Because you were quite far.
I had over half done.
Yeah. And I know you were loving it when you started it.
Yes.
And I said, well, what happened? And then when she told the story, I was like, it makes sense because you know that whatever you're making by hand and your own crafting, that you can get good feelings from that.
Exactly.
And that it has meaning like way after you've knit it. So it only makes sense that if the feelings around it weren't positive, that you would have the same thing happen. It just now it's just nasty to have to do it.
And sometimes I'm stubborn and I like to power through.
Yeah.
And I was like,
that's what I was most surprised about, because that was actually the thing that intrigued me, is because you power through a lot of stuff. Yeah.
But this one, I was just like, you know what?
I don't have to.
Yeah. It's a Sarah talks often about, stitching love into the projects he's making, either for the intended recipient or for herself. And so it only follows that if we stitch love into something, we can also stitch some pain into something.
Or anxiety or whatever
it is. So I think part of our healing from those moments might literally be unwinding the pain, right? Ripping it out. And that in itself can be healing and cathartic.
Because we do often go to craft as a way to, help us process things.
For sure.
And sometimes you're right that needs to be dealt with by taking it apart, because you're like, whew, that's gone. So I've got it all.
And did you feel like a relief when it was that?
Yes.
Wasn't hanging over your head anymore.
Exactly. And it's so silly because, it's a beautiful, beautiful project. It's so nice. I was enjoying it so much. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to take this apart. And when I did, I felt like 20 pounds lighter.
Yeah.
And I already have a project pick for the yarn, so it's not going to waste. So
a fresh start.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and I think the great thing about that too is the ripping out of the knitting was the removal. You didn't have to discard this yarn that is still perfectly beautiful and acceptable. It was the removing of the stitches that was the actual healing part. So I think that's awesome.
Yeah, that's cool. So we will not see the snowflower again. No, not Simone's anyway. Yeah,
it'll be something different.
Yes. All right. So that's. I just thought that was a good lesson, I guess.
Yeah, because you don't always have to finish your knitting.
It's hard to explain to people that don't do what we do, like working with your hands and things like that, about how powerful it is. And it can be powerfully good, or it can be powerfully not just right.
It's like if you've ever had a project that went like seriously south, you know how awful it can be.
And we don't want to do it if it's like the whole thing is we associate good feelings with the crafts that we're doing, and if it doesn't have a good feeling, then we don't need that.
That's why we like the color and the squish and all that fun stuff.
To celebrate.
Yeah,
exactly. All right, so thanks for sharing that, Simone, because I think that's a good thing for people to think about sometimes. If you're feeling that way, then just rip it out.
Yeah, it should be used for something else.
Exactly. All right. So the last thing we're going to talk about is just a reminder that the PEI Fibre Festival is coming on October 23rd to the 25th in 2025 in Charlottetown. We're just getting ready to, we're just getting the final organization to release the tickets and everything. So you haven't missed anything yet. The tickets have not been released for the Fibre Festival marketplace or the instructors. So just finalizing the instructors. We're a little bit behind where we were last year because we're 3 weeks later. The festival is actually 3 weeks later than it is last year. So I think we will be probably releasing the ticket sales at the very beginning of March or something. So that's coming. But the website is up and you can go there and you can sign up for the newsletter. So they will have they'll have information coming out about it in the newsletter. So that's that. So that's the end of the agenda when all the other places that we went. So we're going to check out Ken driving in the snow. I like I said, I don't know how he took the video while he was driving, but he's home safe.
I know.
So
Vinny was holding it.
Of course. Vinny. Exactly. So with that, we'll wish you joyous 2 weeks and have hopefully that you enjoy your crafting, whatever it is. You can see we're diversified crafters, so we're sure some of you are as well. And we'll see you in 2 weeks' time. Bye.